Podcasts are hot right now. How do I know? Well, you're listening to one right now, aren't you? But you might be wondering, how on earth do I get my voice out there and start my own podcast? It all seems so intimidating. Between hosting and platforms and monetization, it can get real complicated real quick. Well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We started this podcast over 2 years ago, not knowing clue one on how to do it. So how do we do it? We did it with Anchor. Anchor is the free podcast app with creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on all the platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. And everybody likes money, right? Well, you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So go right now, download the free Anchor app, or go to Anchor FM to get started. It's the E-Commerce Minute, your daily dose of e-commerce, tech, and retail news with your hosts, Bart Mraz and John Suter. The E-Commerce Minute is a production of Sumo Heavy, a digital commerce consulting firm in Brooklyn, New York, and Philadelphia. Find us on the web at sumoheavy.com. It's E-Commerce Minute, episode 621.
In today's episode, Rebook disrupted flights with Freebird.
There are few things more irritating than flight delays or cancellations. Whether you're going on your dream vacation, going to a business meeting, or just trying to visit your family, the inconvenience of a delayed flight can bring out the worst even in the calmest of people. How am I going to get there? When am I going to get there? Do I still have to pay for this lost night in the hotel I booked? These are just some of the damages we try to control when traveling. But Freebird, a travel rebooking service, is here to end this nightmare. Freebird is a service that charges a minimum flat rate of $19 per one-way flight or $34 for a round-trip flight to independent travelers and companies that partner with the service to help travelers rebook flights after cancellations or other disruption events. The prices vary depending on distance, time of year, location, and more. Most of the time, flights are on time and without issue, which means that most of the time, Freebird pockets all of that customer's sweet cash. But if there's a disruption event, Freebird guarantees it will rebook you with just 3 taps of your phone and without any additional charge. In the event that you experience a disruption, you'll receive a text from Freebird notifying you of the situation and providing you a link to rebook your flight. You'll then be presented with different flight options. You simply select the flight you want, and Freebird will book it without any additional fees through any airline. Freebird aggregates data on flight patterns to predict the probability of a flight disruption. If the probability is high, Freebird charges more for its access to the mobile rebooking tool. For example, Freebird CEO Ethan Bernstein told TechCrunch that if you're flying out of Buffalo in the winter, it's going to be a higher risk flight. If you're flying out of Phoenix in the summer, you're at a very low risk of being disrupted. We understand those risks, and we're able to price our product differently based on those factors, end quote. Overall, this is a pretty innovative solution to the nightmare that is flight delays. I like this.
This gets a ding.
Ding, ding.
Is it a ding?
That's a ding.
So, funny enough, I was flying to vacation, and then we were sitting on a tarmac for like 40 minutes. That was great.
That's not
Then I was like, wait a minute, I know a service. I forgot the name of it. I forgot to do it. I was like, I wanted to try it.
What's that service?
And then I also forgot what it was, and it's bookmarked, but I also forgot what it was when I was coming back, and my plane was late. So, but it's for $10. I mean, it's not bad.
Yeah. I mean, it obviously depends on the flight, but the flight that you were taking was probably a low probability of disruption. So that would have been, $19 or whatever it is. Do you ever buy the flight insurance?
No, I don't have to.
Oh, because of Amex?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So us commoners, whenever I think there might be because I get nervous, I like try to plan my travel in the beginning of the year, and I'm like, I'm booking a flight in August. I don't know what my life's going to be like in August. And I'm like, well, it's $10. And, there's been times where it's like, okay, I'm ready to travel. And then remember when I tried to go to Creative South 2 years ago?
Oh yeah. Something happens.
Everything like Atlanta airport was like closed for 2 days or something.
Yeah.
So those kind of things that makes I give pause when I book a flight and I go, extra $10. I'm like, I've already spent this money. Yes. $10. Fine. It's fine. I'm looking at this now though. And I'm like, this is that on steroids, because for $19, if the flight's canceled, they're going to hook me up no matter what. So I don't know that example that I gave where the airport was like literally closed, like no one was going to Atlanta that weekend. That was we're going conclusion. So I'd probably wind up with a refund or something like that. But I think this is a great great solution for people who travel a lot and are inconvenienced by this kind of
Hmm.
crap that happens in airports.
Yeah, I mean, it's, if you travel on one airline, it's, your points go up and you get status. It's a little easier. But, when you travel twice or three times a year, that's, it's definitely a good service for that kind of stuff too.
Mhm.
It just depends how you travel, right? Like, obviously I travel corporate a lot. So for me, I might use it just to see how it works. But other than that, I mean, between my flights and sort of Amex cards, makes it a little easier. It's still a pain. It's still trying to figure out, calling and figuring out, and you get a hold. And
Yeah, that's
it's a
the thing there.
big, huge mess, and that's the biggest, right? And you know, in the airport, not a lot of people are that friendly when that stuff happens.
Hmm.
And then
Yeah.
when it happens at a clip, like forget just the regular delays when people are unhappy. When it's like really bad, where it's like,
Mhm.
hey, we're switching, it's going to take another 4 hours to get you a plane, then it gets interesting.
Then it gets interesting, and you're dealing with something that it's like you think you go to the airport and you think everything's under control as to the best of your ability, but when
Mhm.
things go off the rails like that, you even the coolest, calmest person is going to have a problem when it's like snowstorm has shut down the airport that you're trying to go to, and all these flights are backed up. What are you going to do? That's a
Yeah.
bad situation. So people aren't, as you had said, people aren't nice. People aren't calm. People are
Well, I think that's the worst, right? When it's like, guys, it's weather. We can't do anything. It's
right.
safety, it's weather. When they do like, well, we're late now because we can't pull out. Our pilots now got to switch because they're already over
They're over
hours.
hours.
And
Oh, God.
that makes that's a biggie. Like one of
Yeah.
those like staff changes. It's like,
We got to find a fresh pilot. He's been sitting on the plane too long.
yeah, I think one time I was on the plane and we sat there on just waiting to pull out, and everybody's like, and then they check and they're like, oh, so we now have to deplane because we have to clean the bathroom because they forgot to drain the bathroom
Ugh.
because it was overflowing.
Say that kind of stuff's painful.
Things like that, right? Like those kind of things, I can see where people go nuts. Weather, when it comes to weather and stuff like that, I have no problem being delayed, and like it's safety. Like,
Sure.
do you really want to land the plane, in snow? I've been on some tricky flights. Mm, planes kind of sideways, kind of that just. Hope you
Maybe
have
the
another pair of
snow.
pants.
Maybe the snow will cushion our impact.
Any one of those things, like you're flying in a plane. Like, relax, people. I get it. You're trying to get somewhere. I get all that, but tensions go high in the airport. It's very stressful.
Yeah, very stressful. So let's talk about the business model here. I think what they're so they've solved a really, I guess, I mean, not a common problem, but a problem that everyone is familiar with. They've solved it in a way that basically takes all the work out of the consumer's hands, meaning Freebird says to you, because they know what you booked, they said, your flight is canceled. I sent you guys a link for the demo. It basically sends you a text that says, hey, your flight's been canceled. As soon as you click on the link, it presents you with all the new flights that you can select. You pick the one that you want, and you're done. I think that in itself is worth whatever you pay for it. Also, from a business standpoint, and we pointed it out in the article, is like you buy insurance. Everybody has to have insurance for car insurance, house insurance, renter's
Mhm.
insurance, whatever it is. But what's the likelihood of you actually using it? It's very low. That's why these companies make a lot of money. And I think whoever saw this thought this is the insurance model. We are going to make tons of money. And yes, we're going to have to pay out once in a while. Sometimes we're going to have to pay out a whole lot of money, but we're going to have so much other money sitting there making friends that it's not going to matter. And I think this is a real good, just from a business standpoint, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, no, I like it.
It's pretty cool. They've raised some money. Let's see. Do we have that? They've raised a total of 16.5 million to date. And I think, again, I don't know if this is going to be something that's going to, going to be one of those unicorn things or whatever. It's not going to be ubiquitous, but I think it's going to be a very handy tool for people who fly a lot. you're checking it out online, it's getfreebird.com. They have a little simulator on there that you can try. We'll put this link in our show notes. Our show notes are available right on wherever you download your podcast from. Just click on the info tab and you'll see it there. Close out with a little stat time. Flight disruptions increase the cost of air travel by 5 to 15%. That's stat courtesy of Freebird. 27% of the flights in 2018 that were scheduled to arrive from 8 to 10:59 p.m. arrived 15 minutes or more late. That's according to the Points Guy. According to the Department of Transportation data, the number one cause of flight delays last year was late arrival of a previous flight, causing a subsequent flight to depart late. Yes, indeed. That was cause of nearly 40% of all minutes delayed in 2018. And the number two cause for delayed or canceled flights was circumstance within the airline's control, meaning maintenance, flight crew, things that Bart pointed out, flight crew, aircraft cleaning, baggage, blah, 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 blah. Number three was the National Aviation System, which included delays caused by non-extreme weather conditions, airport operations, heavy traffic volume, and air traffic control and air traffic controllers sniffing glue. And
I don't think so.
Even here, he's like, remember the movie Airport? I gave his bedtime Steve up sniffing glue.
Jesus.
Or Airplane.
That's
What's
such
the
a
movie?
good movie.
Airplane, not Airport. Airport's a different movie.
Airplane is such a good movie.
Airplane.
Airport is a disaster movie. Airplane is a funny movie.
Hilarious movie.
And finally, extreme weather, defined as tornadoes, blizzards, hurricanes, or other significant weather conditions.
That's a hard one.
Caused only 6% of the minutes delayed, the Department of Transportation says. All right, you guys got anything else?
Nope.
All
With
right.
Freebird, if you know, you know. That should be their tagline. If you know, you know.
Their tagline should be, I want to fly high like a free bird. Yeah.
Freebird.
No, their tagline should actually just be the entire guitar solo. And
Just the guitar solo.
Somebody play some Freebird.
The guitar solo should be their hold music when you call them. Feel free to use that. What's the tagline, Brittany?
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Freebird. If you know, you know. That's your e-commerce minute for today. We'll see you on the internet tomorrow. That's it for today's show. If you like the show, do us a favor and subscribe or leave us a review on iTunes. And don't forget, you can now listen to the e-commerce minute on your Amazon device. Just add e-commerce minute to your flash briefing. And finally, if you have a comment or suggestion or just want to say hi, find us on social media @Sumo Heavy.